39 years that there's a slide with no logo, no title. And I thought, well, should I put independent? No. Should I put consultant? No. Somebody said use advisor because you get paid more, a higher day rate when you're an advisor than you do as an independent. So I just left it like that. It took me 2 or 3 hours to make this. My colleagues in the room will show you. So we put that together. So those of you that leave tonight, if there's anything I did say that you remember, you maybe just say the retired Chevron guy. That'll be my title for this evening. So we sat back and said, Charles called our email during the summer, I guess it was. I'd retired in May. It took me about a week to get back to him because it took time to adjust my schedule to squeeze this in, as a retiree. But I got back to him and said, I'd love to be here. This is a real treat. But he said, could you talk about your career a little bit and some of your observations? And to tell you the truth, Charles, your request actually made me think about it, because when you leave a company, you leave a business you've been a part of for so long, there's a lot of joke telling, a lot of fun, but there's always not necessarily a lot of reflection. So you did make me sort of think. So I sat back and I said, well, how do you summarize it very quickly? It was 39 years, 2 companies. You'll see that in a minute. That's Texaco, then Chevron. They became one as Chevron. 17 positions, 9 moves. We're, as earth scientists, a graphic group. We're visual learners, so I tried to take a bio and turn it into a slide. And if anything goes wrong with this, do not mock me. I spent much of Sunday, the Saints weren't on, and it starts with your degree. So the students in here tonight, congratulations. To the faculty members that are here with them as well, congratulations. It's your first big step. I heard the thesis even turned in today. I can still remember the day like it was yesterday. Mine got handed back fairly quickly, so we'll see how it goes. So we're not going to walk through each one of these dots, but I'm going to show you some movement around here just to make a point or two when we're finished. And one of the things you'll see with these dots on here, that's your family. My kids grew to hate the term family meeting because that meant we were getting ready to move again. And I bribed them once with Popeye's fried chicken. They were very young. I bribed them once with a snow in Connecticut. It's the least snow Connecticut ever had the few years we were there. And in Houston, I bribed them with a pool. But the point is, when you sit back and you look at sort of the visual of somebody's career, you take reflect on that slide, especially those of you starting your careers. Those of you well into it, you've got a similar slide. But there's a lot of flexibility needed. It's flexibility with you as an individual, in the sense that I'm willing to try new things, I'm willing to do new things, I'm willing to go to new locations, and it's flexibility and support from your family, because you're disrupting kids in school, your spouse is off to a new place to make new friends. I lost track of how many times we had to say, new doctors, new schools, where do you get a haircut? Don't tell my son, I used to send him to the barber first, see how he came out, then I would go afterwards. And I won't even mention my wife's experience with new haircuts. But the point is, if you look at that slide, what do you sort of see? There's offshore and onshore experience, there's exploration and production, there's the well site, there's the boardroom, there's jobs that I had no clue what they were, but said yes in doing it. An SAP implementation. I didn't even know what SAP was, but it taught me the back office of Texaco. A merger integration. That doesn't always happen in our careers, but to be part of something like that, if your company ever goes through it, raise your hand, because it's a lot of fun to be able to put together a whole new institution and a whole new culture. But the key to that, to those of you just starting your career, is kind of broaden your horizons a bit, accept jobs that you didn't think were for you, in the sense that I'm an earth scientist, go places you didn't expect. I didn't expect to be in Washington, D.C. in a White House exchange program. As I stepped off the campus and into the world as a geologist in the Offshore Division. It was an incredible experience. The same exact debates, that was 90, 91, that we're having today on photovoltaics, solar thermal, geothermal, wind, you name it, were going on back then. It's almost like nothing's changed except the technology has advanced a bit. So it taught me, though, as an earth scientist, that energy just wasn't oil and gas. Energy had a much broader spectrum. So back to that point, try to expand your horizons. So if you take away this slide, the flexibility side of it, the disruption to your family's life, but all new things for them. Both of my kids, my son and daughter, became Navy officers after they got their engineering degrees, and of course you move in the military. And the joke was, when they were transferred again and again, they didn't even blink because they were used to it. They said, quote, "My dad is from the oil patch. We're used to this." So if you look back, say next, what are the keys to success? Now, Texaco and Getty came together a good while back. And when we were unpacking some of the boxes that had come over to our division from the Getty office, there was a crinkled, faded piece of paper that said, "Keys to success: rise early, work hard, strike oil." And the quote was J. Paul Getty. And so I stole that from the folder. I still have it. Saw it in my attic this weekend in a folder. And I hung it in my office door in every office I ever worked in, and all those moves you saw. And my daughter took it years ago. I gave her credit at the bottom of the slide. And she was still just a young girl and painted this on a little canvas for me, the actual quote. And if you look back and say, okay, especially those you starting your career, what do those three things really mean? The rise early is have enthusiasm for what you're doing. You wake up before the alarm clock. If you're not getting up before the alarm clock, trust me, I don't even use an alarm clock now. But if you're not, maybe you're not in the right place. You're not maybe in the right company, the right city, even the right job. Maybe you prefer more to work instead of oil and gas. You work in hydrology or environmental work. Find your passion, find your niche. That's what I define the rise early for. It's a critical piece, because if you're not happy, your family senses it, your colleagues sense it, and that whole rise early message is very powerful in the sense of what you're doing as a professional. Work hard, that's another bucket, you might say. And that's the type of thing, it doesn't mean, hey, I spent the longest at the office, I spent 10 or 12 hours a day, so I'm working hard. That's not it at all. It's the type of thing that when you're working hard, you deliver what you promise. If you promise to do A, deliver A. If you promise to do B, deliver B. Deliver B plus, maybe, right? Take it that way. The work hard means that you put such an effort into your job that when you left, your teammates were sorry to see you go. And they helped you to pack, not because they helped you to pack because they were glad to get rid of you. They were happy to pack because they knew you were going off to maybe even a bigger job, and they wanted you to see you be successful. That's what work hard means. It means that take that passion and apply it. And it sounds easy to say, and it definitely, yes, it's hard to do, but it's a key piece behind it. The strike oil, you could use that for anything. In other words, it means success. In our business, of course, strike oil is success. But Cindy hit the nail on the head. The strike oil piece behind it, it's your technical skill set and that's uppercase, underlined, and your business acumen. You have to remember we're in a business. And so you may have the best prospect in the planet, but if it doesn't make a dollar or doesn't generate a return, it keeps your company going, keeps your investors going. It does nothing really for us. So always remember that. So that strike oil piece there, means take that technical capability that you got with your new degrees as all of you begin to roll out, and never stop learning, to the piece you said. Whether it's schools in the company, schools outside of the company, the network, your colleagues, ask lots of questions in meetings, challenge people if it doesn't make sense. You will learn from that type of setting. The technical growth will continue. I learned things till my last day in the office. Some of the last meetings I attended, I'd walk out going, wow, I had no idea. That's interesting. I didn't realize that basin acted such and such a way, or that prospect did such and such a thing, or seismic could actually do that. And I was the head of exploration. I learned from people like what used to be colleagues, now friends at the table over there, as well as many of you that I've worked with. Take advantage of that. On the business side, I tend to believe our engineers sometimes are a little ahead of us. Those of you in the engineer room that are engineers will probably agree with me on that. Tend to get exposed to economics earlier in their career, get exposed to that type of training quicker than maybe we did as earth scientists. One of the slot dots you saw on my map, it showed business planning and analysis. One of those jobs come up, raise your hand. It's so important to learn and understand what the value is that we do besides just the quality, meaning the risk and rocks behind it. It's that value, and will it make us money? Will it drive the company forward? That's a key piece. So rise early, work hard, strike oil, piece of cake. Thanks for your interest. I appreciate it.